Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Wahsa Distance Education and NBV3E. So yesterday we finished up, excuse me, we finished up on key question number 17, and with that went through all of the material we had on in lesson 17. Today we're going to move on now to lesson 18 and program innovations. And so program innovations follows from some of the calls of recommendations from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and we'll have a look at some of those specifically. And um, not all of these calls for change have been um, addressed yet, but they're working on them, and they have had some successes, and we'll talk about those. Uh, with lesson 18, and we are on page 20 of unit number 4 now. You'll be able to describe First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, or how First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples use technology in education and for cultural revitalization. Revitalization. I slipped up there, sorry. But it was a slur of a word. Um, You'll also be able to explain how First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples are incorporating cultural beliefs, values, and education and lifelong learning into their ways of life. And as Sean Atleo says, his version of the Great Buffalo, because he's from out, out west on the coast, the um, great whale. Um, Program innovations, when Aboriginal perspectives or worldviews are included in Canadian education, all students, including non-Aboriginals, benefit. This inclusion allows all students to develop an understanding of and a respect for the cultures, history, and accomplishments of Aboriginal peoples. Schools across the country are taking up this challenge. In order for such schools to succeed, the following characteristics must be present: a safe and welcoming environment for students and families. Well, this goes right across the board. This is one of the responsibilities of a school, to have a safe and welcoming environment. Um, it's one of the basic needs of Abram Maslow's. Is it Abram or Abraham Maslow's? A very important psychologist who talked about the different levels of needs. Um, Safety is one of the basic forms of needs, and you can't really kind of strive for the other higher level needs until you feel safe. Respect for Aboriginal cultures and traditions, so that learning is relevant. High expectations, expect the best from students. A focus on academic learning and long-term success. A wide range of programs and supports for learning. Strong leadership and governance. High numbers of Aboriginal teachers. Trust within the community and strong relationships with elders, wisdom keepers, and language teachers. In northwestern Ontario, there are several notable schools linked with Native Friendship Centres. The Alternative School in the United Native Friendship Centre in Fort Frances is one. Another is the Seven Generations Educational Institute in the Rainy Lake tribal area. These schools have created strong connections with their communities. Experiential and land-based education. Experiential education is just what it sounds like, education through experience. Students in one Cree Nation east of James Bay get hands-on experience making snowshoes, moccasins, and sleds in their school. All of these would be valuable skills to have in a particular climate. At another alternative school in Alberta, students can pursue special projects to explore their talents, and the school has also created an outdoor education program to promote land based learning. And we have likewise courses here as well in in the public system and in the NNEC system, which we'll talk about later. Um, so, support question number one then is: do you think that land based programs are important? Why or why not? Okay, so maybe you've been fortunate to um, attend a land based program. So if you've um, been in high school in the last few years, land based programs have been big there. We're kind of lucky up here in this part of the country, right, that we do have lots of land to base our programs on. And there are many, many opportunities that students can take or partake in as part of a land based curriculum. Um, there's, for instance, a lot of elders up here who have really important knowledge to pass on. We have the environment, right? So if you want to teach kids about gill net fishing, right, or fishing, as well, we have lots of Great Lakes here that you can take the gill nets out and then fish for, uh, a you know, um, jackfish or walleye, and then process them. And generally, they give them to pass them on to people in need. Um, but anyway, so there's lots of different opportunities here, lots of expertise in our area on land-based programs. Um, so let's see, what else do you think the land-based programs are important? Now, my personal opinion is that land-based programs are important right across the whole spectrum of school, especially in elementary school. The more you can get kids out there and experiencing nature and their surroundings. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with computers, but we need to make sure that we have wide, uh, a wide spectrum of different sensory experiences, right? So, too much time on computers are okay, but too much time on them isn't, right? And so, kids, as far as I can remember, have always loved it outside, and so they um, uh, can just go out there and play and learn things, right? You know, so with under the guidance, watchful eye of a teacher, they can construct special curriculum that kids can um, learn specific things that the teacher deems necessary, uh, and be monitored at the same time in a safe way. So yes, land-based right across the board. It doesn't matter if you're First Nations or not. It's good for all kids. And then I remember uh, the experiences my own kids had with that. Oh, it's called Queen Elizabeth back then, um, high school. uh, learning how to canoe. you know, um, there's cool things to do. You know, yeah, you can go out there with friends and go and there's Lookout's got so many cool um, uh, canoe trails. Are they trails? Um, Canoe hikes. um, Places where you can go and take different lengths of canoe trips. And a lot of places don't have that. I mean, you wouldn't want to do it in southern Ontario anyways because all the rivers and that, they just stink. They're polluted. Here, they're clean. You can drink the water and see all kinds of wild animals, you know. And, bonding with your friends is really heightened by experiencing these uh, land-based programs together. Next, we have self-directed education. Aboriginal communities are also creating school programs that reflect traditional ideas on how learning should be self-directed. One example is a school in Mohawk territory near Oka, Quebec. Here, students work together in groups of 10 to 15, giving them the opportunity to learn from each other and to provide support to each other. The concept of 1 year for a grade is not used here. Instead, students are given 2 years to master the skills in a cycle. The school has high academic standards and promotes respect. One of the grandfather teachings for self, for others, for communities, and for Mother Earth. Attawapiskat First Nation runs the sorry, Vazina Secondary Online School. Students can complete individualized self-directed programs online instead of having to leave their community. In northwestern Ontario, the Kiiwetinoong Internet High School allows students to complete high school online without leaving their communities. As you know, Wahsa has the same mandate. So we do have unique forms of education, in particularly up in our area, but these types of schools are located all across the country, right, to make it easier for students in remote communities to attend and get their diplomas. Holistic education is the next topic here. Many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit students have attended schools where their worldviews have not been considered and they therefore have not had good educational experiences and have not been successful. Programs in some schools are attempting to address this situation and are designing programs that include their worldviews, including the belief that everything is connected. Holistic programs look at the whole student and his or her connection with home, family, and community. Pages 302 and 303 of your textbook highlight four of those schools which offer holistic programs for Aboriginal students. And they are the hard for me to pronounce this word. Nsuwakamok Native Alternative Secondary School is located in Sudbury in the Native Friendship Center there. It works with local school board and the Ministry of Education to offer an individualized approach to learning, Aboriginal support, and flexible start dates. In Toronto, the Native Learning Center offers a flexible curriculum courses on Aboriginal history and the Ojibwe language. Counseling, employment assistance, and legal services are also offered. The Children of the Earth High School in Winnipeg, teaches the heritage languages, ancestral knowledge, and incorporates Aboriginal values and perspectives into the Manitoba curriculum. Students participate in monthly pipe ceremonies, are invited to sweat lodges and naming ceremonies. An entrepreneurship program developed in partnership with the Martin Aboriginal Initiative, founded by former Prime Minister Paul Martin, involves students in developing and running their own businesses. Now, there's a guy who's really done a lot for um, Aboriginal peoples, First Nations people in Canada. I've had um, experiences with them through some of the programs that I've seen develop right here in Sioux Lookout from the Slifna or through Slifna, and it was the Prime Minister Paul Martin's this program that he created, um, the Martian Martin Aboriginal Initiative. Um, there's also Scott Collegiate. It's an alternative school in a poor area of Regina. The school's purpose is to nurture academic growth and promote self development, healthy lifestyles, and cultural understanding. At the school, sometimes are flexible, and the students can take time away from school to deal with personal issues without losing the whole school year. A COCOMS club gives students the opportunity to interact casually with elders or to receive formal counseling. Project based learning has students participating in long term projects that they plan and carry out. These could be anything from photojournalism to dinner theater or to hip hop. Here also, an entrepreneurship program is offered as part of the Martin Aboriginal Initiative. So across the country, far-sighted people are taking important steps to close the gap between Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal educational institutions. Progress is being made, but there is a long way to go to achieve the goal of equal opportunity for a good education. Remote and distance education. Aboriginal students in Canada's remote northern communities face many challenges in attempting to achieve a high school education. Some travel many miles daily. Many move hundreds of kilometers away just to attend a high school. Distance education is one way of solving this dilemma. Some First Nations in northwestern Ontario offer secondary school courses through distance education linked to the high school in Sioux Lookout. Wahsa offers courses over radio and internet to remote reserves in the far north, and we've been doing this for a long time. And they've had literally hundreds and hundreds of graduates, people who would not have had the option or opportunity to get their diplomas have done it through the Wahsa model. So what's the thing about Wahsa distance education? If you don't know, lots of our students know, um, but but many people out there, newcomers to the area, might not know. Wahsa Distance Education has provided secondary education services to northern communities across the Sioux Lookout district starting in 1991. The Wahsa team consists of the following. Now, this varies at different times. um, a principal, three education counselors, one DEC liaison, one receptionist, a secretary, one distribution clerk, one database clerk, one IL clerk. And it says here 10 teachers, but we're kind of short on that right now. It's hard to track down teachers these days. It seems like most people, well, you know what? They went from that 1 year to that 2 year program, and then with the stress, the effects of COVID, that put a big dent into the potential numbers of teachers. And it's just right across the board. Like some teachers, for instance, like math teachers, are like gold. You can't, even the public school systems have a hard time tying those down. So, yes, right now, we just have five teachers at Wahsa, right? We have two doing PLAR and then three teaching the rest of the courses. So, the Wahsa program aims to enable you to complete your high school studies at home, offer you alternative ways to earn a provincial high school diploma, open gateways to secondary education through technological innovation. One of those is through the use of the Google G Suite, right? So this is a form of distance. It's an environment, a learning environment that is very similar to, if not the same as, the learning environments that post-secondary institutions learn. And you know you'll get your mix of both types of education when you go on to college or university. And so by become familiar with an environment like G Suite, it's just a form of learning that you will experience and feel comfortable with when you go on to post-secondary. Also, WASA promotes First Nations culture through community-based design. It empowers individuals and communities to realize benefits in a global age, and it aims to develop the knowledge, skills, and attitudes required for future success. Achieving a high school diploma is extremely challenging for Canada's Aboriginals, but not nearly as difficult as what they might face if they wish to pursue higher education at a college or university. In some ways, the challenges faced by these young people are the same as those confronting any student seeking higher learning: geographic distances and lack of funding. But Aboriginal students face the additional obstacles of colonialization, oppression, marginalization, and forced assimilation. Many post secondary institutions are addressing these very issues. The University of Manitoba in Winnipeg offers a transition year program. The First Nations House at University of Toronto offers support and referrals to Aboriginal students and educates the wider university community. In 1987, the University of British Columbia established the First Nations House of Learning, where they used the 4 R's: respect, relevance, reciprocity, and responsibility to strengthen relationships, provide relevant curriculum, and respect Aboriginal values and aspirations. Trent University, Lakehead University, and the University of Ottawa also offer courses that specifically address Aboriginal issues. First Nations communities have also developed their own post-secondary institutions. For example, First Nations Technical Institute on Tyendinaga, Mohawk Territory, Six Nations Polytechnic Technique in Ontario, and Yellow Quill College in Manitoba. And we have the Northern Anishinaabe Education Council post-secondary program. So this is the same umbrella organization that Wahsa is in, the Northern Anishinaabe Education Council. They have a number of different programs. They have high schools, right? In Sioux Lookout here, Pelican High School. They have Dennis Franklin Cromartie High School in Thunder Bay. And so they also have this post-secondary program too. The objective of the post-secondary program is to assist in the creation of a large pool of professionals who will help work toward the establishment of self-government in the Sioux Lookout District to help create infrastructures to support initiatives in business, economic development, government, medical, and social service and encourage entrepreneurship. In September 17, 2009, there are 150 full-time post-secondary students attending university, college, and other post-secondary programs in Thunder Bay this September. Okay, so that's uh, sorry, I don't have more recent data than that. That's a long time ago, right? 15 years ago. 57. So, but we can just, I mean, the numbers will be more, obviously, and um, but they'll be close. Uh, 57 students are attending Lakehead University. 78 students are attending Confederation College, and 15 students are attending Oshki Pimachi Owen Education and Training Institute. And this is a kind of interesting program there, Oshki. Uh, they kind of work with the universities and colleges to set up plans and programs where students can, attend um, the university or college part time and then finish or participate in other classes from their own community. So for teaching people who are in teaching, right, they would be able to. Um, they would have to take their courses at in Lakehead, for instance, and then they would go to Oshki would help them set up other courses to take online right from their home because a lot of times people have their kids and everything, and so it's a long time to go away and leave your families. So they're working with their students. In addition, 140 full-time students are attending various universities and colleges across North America. So this is all part of the post-secondary school program. We have unique teacher training programs. You will recall that one of the requirements for successful schools for Aboriginals was that of having Aboriginals on staff as teachers. But there is a shortage of First Nations, Métis, and Inuit teachers. In Nunavut, a new program was developed that allows students to complete their degree without leaving Nunavut. The course combines teaching in both English and Inuit language, part-time distance learning, classes in Rankin Island and Iqaluit, and in-person sessions with instructors twice yearly. The result is more Nunavut schools will be staffed by Inuit, and the courses will therefore be more relevant to the students. Many universities across Canada have developed Indigenous teacher education programs to prepare teachers to work for First Nations, Métis, and Inuit schools. And it's not just, that was the ultimate goal, the original goal, but now a lot of the public schools here need as many uh, indigenous teachers as they can get because, like, so for instance, in Sioux Lookout, half of the kids in the high school are indigenous, right? So you have to be able to involve them and make them feel more comfortable. Uh, so there's the Bachelor of Ed program, B-Ed program, run by the Northern Anishinaabe Education Council. And it's done in conjunction with the Faculty of Education at Brock University, right? That's in St. Catharines. Um, in in September 17th, 2009, NNEC's So Lookout District Education Bachelor of Education program in partnership with Brock University is entering the third year of a 5-year program of study for its first cohort of students. I had the opportunity to actually teach a course for them, and it was working with computers. It was a computer based course, and I had lots of fun because I was able to actually um, use my knowledge, my background, my experience on with photo image manipulation, and use that, have some fun, um, and with the students, and teach them all about how to use computers, store and save files, organize things like that. Organize your desktop. And um, let's see. All right. So we have a second support question here. Um, how are First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples using technology in education and for cultural revitalization? List 3 examples from this chapter. Okay, so for that, we it's probably best to go right to the textbook that we listed there. And let me see. I'll bring that up quickly. Where are you? Okay. So let's see. We'll bring up. It was all found in, or that can be found in. Where'd you go? Oh, there it is. Oh, right. They wanted me to download that for some reason. Okay. Where did I download that at? What's going on with that? Hmm. Oh, you know what? It probably wants me to log in again here. Remember yesterday? So I think I do have it. Let's see. Downloads. There we are. Haha. I knew I had to download something yesterday. Okay, so I'm just skimming through it right here. Bum, bum, bum. Program innovations, right on page 298. Elders and Aboriginal languages on 299. Experiential and land-based education on 300. Um, Self-directed and reciprocal education, holistic education on page 301. And here's the example community close-ups here on page 302 and 303. Cultural programs, teacher training, remote and distance education, post-secondary education. So you need to read through this, right? Get some more details and facts on the topics that I have very loosely covered um, while I've been discussing this um, in this class. Okay, so the book textbook goes into much more detail to help you get that level 4 answer mark. Um, okay, so just let me go back to where I was there, and we're looking for technology. Well, through language rejuvenation. I mean, there's so much that's going on with technology. Here we go. Language rejuvenation through media and technology. Um, Role models. Okay. Um, so, I mean, just how we are delivering our curriculum right now is very based on technology, right? And one of our goals is to uh, be um, a source of cultural revitalization. We have uh, a teacher who's teaching Ojibwe, I believe. No, it's Ojibwe, I think. Um, and actually, he's not on this term, I don't think. But he was in on last term, and he's actually living in Thunder Bay. Um, so that wouldn't be able to be offered unless we had the technological setup that we have right now. Um, Now, there's a few other things here that aren't mentioned in this unit that I think are very important. And one of them, let's see, let me go back here. Okay, so the, there we go. Sign me back in there. That's what I wanted it to do, right? That's why I couldn't download that or I couldn't open it. Okay, all right, so um, I've mentioned a number of times the calls for action in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Now, there's some specifically that are directed towards education, and I'm going to uh, take us and show and describe those to you right now. Okay. All right. So it's been 6 years since the Truth and Reconciliation Commission delivered its calls for action. None of the calls related to education and young people have been fully implemented. So here they are. We call on the Government of Canada to repeal Section 43 of the Criminal Code of Canada. Oh, gee, I don't know what that is, but that has to do with education. We call upon the federal government to develop with Aboriginal groups a joint strategy to eliminate educational and employment gaps between Aboriginal and non Aboriginal Canadians. Okay, so I mean, like uh, schools like Wahsa and the other NNEC programs. I mean, that is their goal to be able to achieve that. They were, I think they were involved in doing that and starting that even before the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. What else we have here? So that's 6 and 7. Number 8, we call upon the federal government to eliminate the discrepancy in federal education funding for First Nations children being educated on reserves and those First Nation children being educated off reserves. Right? So that's something that hasn't been worked out yet. I mean, um, and it's much more complicated than I am able to really dig into right now, but there are discrepancies there, and so what that leads to uh, Indigenous people, First Nations kids, not getting an equivalent education. We call upon the federal government to prepare and publish annual reports comparing funding for the education of First Nations children on and off reserves, as well as education and income attainments of Aboriginal peoples in Canada compared to non Aboriginal people. Um, we call on the federal government to draft new Aboriginal education legislation with full participation and informed consent of Aboriginal peoples. The new legislation would include a commitment to sufficient funding and would incorporate the following principles: providing sufficient funding to close identified educational achievement gaps within one generation, improving education attainment levels and success rates, developing culturally appropriate curriculum, protecting the right of Aboriginal languages, including the teaching of Aboriginal languages as credit courses, enabling parental and community responsibility, control, and accountability, enabling parents to fully participate in the education of their children, respecting and honoring treaty relationships. Okay, so there's a number of other ones here, but I don't have time to go through them. I'll gladly send these to you. Maybe I'll review them uh, more tomorrow, but I wanted to, next week. One thing I wanted to point out though first is this. Okay, so uh, one great step forward has been the inclusion of the Indigenous Authors course mandatory as a grade 11 English credit. So this goes pretty well across the board. So it's an NBE, not NBV like us, 3U. It's a university prep course. And that's pretty well across the board from one uh, uh, school board to the next has been accepted as the uh, only course to get you into the 4U, the ENG 4U, University Prep. They also have courses in college prep and workplace. So this is most of the school boards are buying into this, and here in Sulaco, the public board there is Kenora Kiwaywin School Board has bought into it, and so this is all done by part of the system to improve the uh, uh, chances of Indigenous students being successful. So we will have to cut all of this short here because I want to talk about the key question. For key question 18, research one college, university, or Aboriginal run post-secondary institution program that addresses the needs of Aboriginal students. Consider programs that are structured around First Nations, Métis, or Inuit values. So this is a form you can follow. Name an institute, location, programs offered, how the school addressed the needs of Aboriginal students Would you consider attending this school? Why or why not? All right. So that's a little research problem or assignment for you. Now, let me know if you have a hard time getting onto the internet or not. I know some of our students do, and I'll gladly get you a list. And once you have a list, you can let me know what information you need, and I can get it for you. I can download some of the web pages. Okay, so have fun with that. We'll come back on Monday, and we'll uh, discuss the this assignment, and before we'll continue on to our next lesson, lesson 19. Thanks everyone for listening in today. I hope you enjoyed our class. We'll be back on Monday to finish off the unit and the course. Wow, light travels fast. Have a great evening. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you then. Bye for now.